Because he was, I've never, I don't think it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And when you first said that, I thought you were going to do the song.
Mm-hmm.
The Adele song.
I'd love to.
Like, oh, he wants to do the Adele song. Let's go.
Yeah, okay.
Skyfall.
It's really good.
It's a cool song.
I don't know if I could survive doing that. She has such a great range.
Oh, so I didn't remember the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very.
It's well done.
Lord of the Flies-ish,
That's kind of what they're going for, right? Like the last two survivors, right?
Yeah.
And I tried to explain Lord of the Flies to one of my friends because he's never seen it. And there's a Japanese film called Battle Royale, which is very gory. It's kind of the same concept. You take like these middle high schooler kids, very young children, and dump them on an island. But like that one is a game where like it's last man standing, and it's pretty gruesome. Apparently, I've never seen the movie, but same concept, right? You take young children and you put them in.
That's even worse, isn't it? Kind of like Hunger Games, but worse.
Yeah, it's the same concept as the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Flies. I remember watching that movie and I read the book first, right? It was an assignment. I read the book and then I watched the movie, and I was like, I never want to be in that situation. Kind of terrible, but yes, this is also very similar. You put all these well-trained people in these situations, and you kind of manipulate them against each other. It's not great, but also you're not in a great scenario to begin with, right? M says orphans always make the best agents, right? Because they have these abandonment issues.
Yeah.
And he addresses that in this scene.
Right.
But you don't get the other agent's background, right? You don't get like the antagonist's background on why he's a better agent and why whatever happened.
Right, and he kind of went to the dark side seemingly.
Well, the rest of the movie, she abandons him essentially, right? So like he says mommy was very bad, so like the mother abandoned the child, right? But he was also doing things he should not have been, right? So that's why they kind of just let him go.
So how much of the character that we witness in the movie do you want to put into
most of it
version?
Most of like 80%. So like and then instead of wearing a suit, I asked him, I was like, oh, do I have to wear a suit? He goes, no, get a Hawaiian shirt.
Okay.
So like this character, he's gonna be sipping oolong tea and knitting while he's like antagonizing the hero, right? So like there's gonna be like a lawn chair I'm gonna like take out of the trunk and just follow him around while he's like fiddling around with the engine and things like that. So I can just read it to you.
You can. And I just wondered if you wanted, I could hold it if you want to make it bigger so you don't have to hold the text.
Well, I mean, do you just want to read it, right? It's probably like a 3-minute read. I have it on my phone as well.
Oh, okay, sure.
That way we both have a copy.
Well, maybe you should read this. I have very little things to say. Right? I have a few things.
Can I email it to you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Email it to me.
So you can read off your iPad?
Yeah.
Forward. Include attachments. And then, what is the email?
It's first and last name, STACIE, and then STEINKE.
Yep, I have it at Gmail. Ta-da. Let me know when it goes through. It says sent. Yeah, this would be a good episode of like characters as well, where going through like people's origin stories or characters or the background behind it, like doing James Bond, doing like the villain.
Okay. So from the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me pull it up.
Okay. So I will be the
You'll be James.
Bond. Yes, I love that. Thank you. This is fun.
Of course, this is fun. That's why I grabbed the project. So Skyfall Modified, written by Chloe Jordan, adapted to Rachel Skyfall screenplay.
If you want to put it up here, you can. You don't have to hold it.
Probably not my voice projector. Side of the road day. A car stopped on the side of the road. Two people step out of the car. James Bond from the driver's side and Raul Silva, a villain obsessed with knitting and an addiction to oolong tea from the passenger side. Silva pauses as the door closes and looks at Bond. He holds his arms out with his tea in one hand, knitting needles and yarn in the other. It's
Okay.
Silva. Hello, James. Welcome. Do you like the island? My grandmother had an island. Nothing to boast of. You could walk around it in an hour. Still, it was a paradise for us. Brief pause in dialogue. They both walked towards the back of the car. Silva continued while walking. And one summer, we went for a visit and discovered the place has been infested with rats. They come on a fishing boat and gorge themselves on coconut. So how do you get rats off an island? My grandmother showed me. They're at the trunk. Silva opens it so they can sit. Silva continued. We buried an oil drum and hinged the lid. When we wired coconut to the lid as bait, and the rats would come in for the coconut. Boing, 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 boing. They would fall into the drum. After a month, you trapped all the rats. But what do you do then? Throw the drum into the ocean? Burn it?
So he moves closer to it.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. No, you just leave it. And they begin to get hungry. And one by one, they start eating each other until there are only two left. 2 survivors. And then what? Do you kill them? No. You take them and release them into the trees. And now they don't eat coconut anymore. They only eat rat. You've changed their nature. Silva takes a harsh sip of tea while looking at Bond, studying his looks. The 2 survivors. This is what she made us.
I made my own choices.
You think you did? That's her genius. Bond looks at him as Silva is knitting. He puts it all together.
Station H. Am I right? Hong Kong?
86 to 97. Silva looks up from his knitting and smiles. Back then, I was her favorite. And you're not nearly the agent I was, I can tell you that. Just look at you, barely held together by your drink and your pills. Bond, annoyed, gets off the car and walks to the front of the car and lifts the hood, attempting to fix the car.
Don't forget my pathetic love of country.
Silva grabs a beach chair from the trunk. He takes that, his tea, and his knitting materials to the front of the car. He puts his things down so he can open the chair. You're still clinging to your faith in that old woman. Then all she does is lie to you.
She's never lied to me.
No? What do you think the score in your marksmanship evaluation?
70.
40. Did she tell you the psychologist cleared you for duty?
Yes.
No. So he pulls out his iPad, has begun to crack down, pointing to it to indicate that Bond needs to look at it. He takes a sip of tea, puts it down, lounges back, and resumes his knitting. Bond sees Silva as he sat down, frustrated, goes back to fiddling with the engine. Silva continued. Medical evaluation? Fail. Physical evaluation? Fail. Psychological evaluation? Alcohol and substance addiction indicated. Pathological rejection of authority based on unresolved childhood trauma. Subject is not approved for field duty and immediate suspension from service advised. Bond looks at Silva troubled. What is this, if not betrayal? She sent you after me, knowing you're not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy, it was very bad. Bond slams the car down, begins to turn around as if he was going to walk away in frustration. Silva reaches out and points the knitting needle around to Bond. See what she's done to you? Bond turns around and looks at Silva.
Well, she never tied me to a chair.
Her loss.
Are you sure this is about M?
It's about her. And you. It's Vincenzo. You're getting closer to Bond. And me. You see, we're the last two rats. We can either eat each other or eat everyone else. How you're trying to remain nurturing now? What's your regulation to cover this? Bond walks to the trunk to avoid the conversation with Silva. Silva gets up from his lounge chair and follows Bond while taking the iPad in his knitting project. Well, first time for everything, yes. Silva goes back to his chair and his tea and puts the chair down in front of Bond.
What makes you think this is my first time?
Ah, Mr. Bond, sips tea. All the physical stuff is so dull. He grabs his knitting project from his lap. Chasing spies, so old-fashioned. Your knees must be killing you. England, the Empire, MI6, you're living in a ruin as well. You just don't know it yet. At least here and there are no old ladies. Sorry. At least here, there are no old ladies giving orders and no little gadgets from those fools in Q Branch. He points with a needle to the iPad with a picture of a knitting pattern on it. If you wanted, you could pick your own secret missions, as I do. Name it. Name it. Destabilize the multinational by manipulating stocks? Easy. Interrupt transmissions from a spy satellite over Kabul? Done. Rig an election in Uganda? On to the highest bidder.
Or gas explosion in London?
Just point and click.
Well, everybody needs a hobby.
So what's yours?
Resurrection. Okay.
See, that was fun.
It's very fun. It is very fun. This is a great scene.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you picked it.
Yeah, it's a great scene. And what I love about the knitting needles, I was just thinking this at the end, is like, knitting needles is what I often associate with old women.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea how to knit, so you said like you could just fake it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
can I just show you? Just, because you can do a couple simple things. Let's use a couple pens.
Okay.
Just pretend. And they're actually longer than this,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little bit like this.
Okay, so you're just like wrapping in.
Yes, and then
Okay.
usually you have two, and then you wrap. You use the needles to kind of hold the position of the.
Okay. Of one and while you weave the other.
Yes, then you go like this.
Oh, is it just like weaving a? Okay.
So it's like, I don't have the yarn, but imagine, usually what you do is you start off, one of them has.
Join fabrics and get some.
Yeah, you could, and they have, it's kind of like interlocked along here, and then you would take this other one. Imagine there's,
Tie at the end.
like a, it's like locked around like a loop. You would stick this under the loop. You have a loose piece over here. You take it and you wrap around. Maybe you want to, watch a video so you
Okay.
see.
Yeah, I'll probably. watch a
But
few
you can even do this. It's kind of this kind of thing. Wrap in there. So if you want to play with that, you can help do that now. How much? I think I've been affected by watching it, by watching the clip, but I also see it in the language that he's dramatic and diabolical.
Yeah, he
Right.
is the most dramatic Bond villain.
Yeah. So can you add a little bit more of that? And what does that? And what does that mean to you to do that?
I think I would add just a little more emphasis on like the flair of the language. Like, ooh, Mommy was very bad.
Yes.
Right, like, and he has the accent that he does really well. In terms of, he does have a physical deformity.
Oh, does he? Doing his chin? Is it something?
So his jaw is fake. So like there's another scene where he kind of breaks down. He's like, hydrogen cyanide. Do you know what it's like? When he knew he was going to be abandoned, he had a suicide pill and he used it. But it didn't kill him. It just deformed him. So his jaw is like all fake. So when he's like captured, right? I think it's before that. Maybe it's after. I don't remember in the movie. I'll probably just watch it again.
Okay.
But he does have a deformity. and that's why he like moves his jaw in that way in the scene because he's like playing with his implant, his denture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A little bit.
So I think the word I was looking for is seductive.
A little
He's
bit.
kind of a seductive.
Yeah. The
Hello,
scene.
James.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're
You
here.
don't really know what's happening.
Right.
He's trying
like-
to convert him to the cause, right? In any means.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he's entrapped him. He's
Mhm.
kind of he is like the insect in the spider's web,
Mhm.
right? You know. Do you like the island?
Mhm.
You know, it's like it varies. You know, that kind of seductive, creepy. You know.
Mhm. Like the unwelcome advances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was definitely uncomfortable watching the scene in the theater. I remember like, oh, what is happening?
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and but Daniel Craig as the character does a tremendous job
Yeah.
of looking nonplussed by it all.
Yeah, that's like one of the hallmarks of James Bond. He's just unbothered. He's very stoic.
Yeah.
I've watched some videos on it, like in terms of like his display of masculinity is he's very reactive when he needs to be, but otherwise he's very calm and steady. He just seems like practiced. He practices being non-bothered or nonplussed.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
The part of the
Very
scene
convenient.
when the villain Silva goes up to him and like pushes his shirt
Mhm.
aside, and at one point he brings his hand around his neck.
yeah.
I'm thinking, is he gonna choke him? You want
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. I was like, oh.
And then but you watch Daniel Craig and I barely saw his chest move.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't see his chest move at all. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I was looking for it, but I was like, you can see like the scars that he carries over the years as the character,
Yes.
right? Like since like the first Daniel Craig movie, onward, right, where he's Bond. But like I think that was from the earlier in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, because he basically like dies like 3 times in the series.
Wait, how does he die and then come back?
He can't find his body, so they like consider him like missing in action or killed in action.
Oh, okay.
And he like comes back twice, I think. In the last movie, he does finally die. Like nobody's coming back from the missile strike, right? So I just think that he's tired of playing the character. I would be too.
Yeah.
It's like I think he's the longest running Bond. Maybe not. It's like 6 movies.
I don't know. He's done though with Bond, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would be too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do other stuff.
Yeah.
Right, like because I think it's great, but it's not fun. Like after a while, it's not fun. Like
Yeah.
it's work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of like I've heard that a lot of British actors they have their characters die, in a lot of the series and movies and things like that. So they're not typecast. Like that's something they're really afraid of.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Unless you're the Allstate Mayhem guy, and that's all you do, and you don't care because you make millions. Just
Yeah. I mean, I
riding
guess
around.
so. That makes sense.
I-
It's a different. He's in other stuff though.
I
He's in
read
TV
that he's
series?
not.
He's in TV series. He's in but I guess so. Yeah.
Let me put my D&D on here.
Okay.
People about my yoga group are in a big textorama right now. Let's see.
That's okay. I understand. Yoga's serious business. That's why I don't do it so much.
What? It's serious. No,
It's
they
so
just all they're on the tech. Who's coming? You know.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, let's do that again. This is fun.
Okay.
But I would again urge you to wait. What did we? You sent it to me in my email.
Mhm.
Just take your time with it. And just be as creepy as you can.
Oh God, here we go.
Come on, creepy. I'm like, no, not creepy. Not creepy.
For the record, the teacher asked me.
Creepy.
I don't know. How would like a less jovial tone? I'd have to get in the mindset of like I'm going to
It's
be
torture.
really. I mean, he essentially is trying to like mind torture him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not beyond anything. Several days.
Do you feel like you need to read the
No, I don't.
directional? No.
No, I know. I just wanted to go over it like
Okay.
in my head to
Okay.
visualize where we're at. So, hello, James.
That's even better already. It's like wow.
Yeah.
As I hear that, I go wow.
Yeah. Hello, James. Welcome. Do you like the island?
Mm.
My grandmother had an island. Nothing to boast of. You could walk around it in an hour. Still, it was a paradise for us. One summer, we went for a visit and discovered the place had been infested with rats. They'd come on a fishing boat and gorge themselves on coconut. So, how do you get rats off an island? My grandmother showed me. We buried an oil drum and hinged the lid. Then we wired coconut to the lid as bait, and the rats would come for the coconut. Boing, 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 boing. They would fall into the drum. After a month, you've trapped all the rats. But what do you do then? Throw the drum into the ocean? Burn it? No, you just leave it. And they begin to get hungry. And one by one, they start eating each other until there are only two left. The two survivors. And then what? Do you kill them? No. You take them and release them into the trees. And now, they don't eat coconut anymore. They only eat rats. You've changed their nature. The two survivors. This is what she made us.
Maybe you emphasize she. There.
The two survivors. This is what she made us.
I made my own choices.
You think you did? That's her genius.
Station H. Am I right? Hong Kong.
86 to 97. Back then, I was her favorite. And you're not nearly the agent I was. I can tell you that. Just look at you. Barely held together by your pills and your drink.
And don't forget my pathetic love of country.
You're still clinging to your faith in that old woman when all she does is lie to you.
She's never lied to me.
No. What did you score on your marksmanship evaluation?
70.
40. Did she tell you the psychologist cleared you for duty?
Yes?
No. No.
Yeah. Are you gonna actually use like an iPad as a prop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you
I'm gonna
need
bring
to.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, because some of this stuff,
It's kind of intricate in terms of like the time.
because you need to see what he's talking about.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you have to do something else to.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna pause and do editing and like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But also, I would like to do as few takes as possible. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. No. No. Medical evaluation, fail. Physical evaluation, fail. Psychological evaluation, alcohol and substance addicted. Excuse me. Alcohol and substance addiction indicated. Pathological rejection of authority based on unresolved childhood trauma. Subject is not approved for field duty and immediate suspension from service advised. What is this if not betrayal? She sent you after me. No, you're not ready. No, you'll likely die. Mommy was very bad.
Ugh.
See what she's done to you?
Well, she never tied me to a chair.
Her loss.
Are you sure this is about M?
It's about her. And you. And me. You see, we are the last two rats. We can either eat each other or eat everyone else. Oh, how you're trying to remember your training now. What's the regulation to cover this? Well, there's a first time for everything, yes?
What makes you think this is my first time?
Oh, Mr. Bond. All the physical stuff, so dull. Chasing spies, so old-fashioned. Your knees must be killing you. England, the Empire, MI6, you're living in a ruin as well. You just don't know it yet. At least here, At least here, there are no old ladies giving orders and no little gadgets from those fools in Q Branch. If you wanted, you could pick your own secret missions, as I do. Name it. Name it. Destabilize a multinational by manipulating stocks? Easy. Interrupt transmissions from a spy satellite over Kabul? Done. Rig an election in Uganda? All to the highest bidder.
Or gas explosion in London.
Just point and click.
Well, everybody needs a hobby.
So what's yours?
Resurrection.
Yeah.
So I want, when you were doing England, the Empire, that paragraph
Mhm.
and that page there,
Mhm.
you're living in a ruin as well. You just don't know it yet. At least here, I think he is referencing the physical space that they're in.
Mhm.
So you might want to do,
Okay, like a
a gesture of like bringing him, like addressing the
just
space.
like all this.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So England, the Empire, MI6, you're living in a ruin as well.
Yeah. It's here.
You just don't know it yet. At least here, there are no old ladies giving orders and no little gadgets from those fools in Q Branch.
Yeah. It was all creepier.
Mhm.
And it's interesting when you get into creepier, it slows your pace down a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm like thinking of the setting and visualizing that scene again, but I'm also like trying to walk around the car, like the way this scene is, walk around the counter and fiddle with the chair, right?
The weird thing is to me is like the knitting. Does he ever actually knit? If
He's knitting.
walking?
Yeah, so he's not walking and knitting. When he's sitting down in the lounge chair, he's knitting,
Okay.
and then he's using the knitting needle, to point at things, while James is doing stuff, right? He's like,
Okay.
when he points to the iPad, right? He's like, look at this.
Yeah.
So it's a different.
Because the movie setting,
Mhm.
to me, the setting itself brings so much creepiness to it. Just
Yeah.
because you feel, he got all these computers set up,
Mhm.
and my assumption.
Yeah, he has his own server farm, right? So like he is actually like
He's doing all these things that
he's an
we've
international
talked about.
terrorist. Yes.
Yes.
So he does in real time all of the things, like all those things that he talks about, rigging an election,
Right.
knocking out spy satellites, manipulating stock markets. Like he does those things. And,
Yeah.
like that's he's like, I get to pick my own missions now. This is how I leverage technology to do it instead of chasing people around like and doing cloak and dagger spy work. Right. This is the future.
Right. So he's very proud of what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's very proud of
Yeah,
his
I mean,
accomplishments.
I know the mindset, right? I work in cybersecurity. Like I've seen people when they beat people like this, right? And like, it's just we're doing the job, but also like, wow, we stopped a big problem from happening, right?
When you say people like who would counteract a civil.
Yeah. So like the
Okay.
the defense side of things. I know people that work on red teams too. Different mentality, but the red team exists to make the blue team better. So red versus blue. Red is like the penetration tester, the hacker that's trying to get in, and blue team is the defense team, or who can have like different hacking and penetration testing skills, but their job is to defense, right? And people switch teams and they have like purple teams and stuff like that. It's weird, but anyway, purple is like the team
What do
that
you
does both.
think made him go to the dark? I'm gonna call it the dark side.
Yeah, so he went rogue because he was abandoned, and when he found his way out, he's like, well, I still have this sense of like good and evil and justice that I have all these skills and I should use them, right? It kept him going because he got to the point where like, oh, well, I'm gonna kill myself, right? Like nobody's coming for me. I've been abandoned by my country. I've been disavowed, so I can't go back, right?
So it's revenge a little bit.
I think it's revenge, but it's also like he is his own authority.
Right.
Right, so like he doesn't answer to anybody else. And that's his mindset. He goes, I have the power to change things without having to worry about the politicians getting in my way.
So that's his fuel.
Mhm.
Do you think? Like his
I think
sounds
so.
like
He has the sense of right and wrong, but it's been warped because of this. And like the reason he got caught is because he was doing things that were unsanctioned, right? So
Oh.
Silva's character was doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. So they're like, all right, well, you're disavowed. Like
Okay.
you're done, right?
But he thought at some level he thought they were the right thing to do.
Yeah. So he was taking it farther than whatever the mandate is. I don't know
Okay.
what the intelligence agencies and how they work or anything like that, but it was beyond the scope of what he was supposed to be doing. So they definitely just left him out to dry, right? They let him die.
So is he trying to turn Bond into like
Yeah,
his
he
henchman?
well,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
extra person on
Yeah,
his
so
crew?
so like it's very hard to get those people, right? So he's trying to convert him to his cause because he's like, you're like me, you just don't see it yet.
So he's not gonna, we would think at this point, actually gonna hurt Bond.
No, I don't think he
He's-
does. I don't think he does for like the rest of the movie.
Okay.
I mean, he tries to kill him a couple times, but that's like it's not what happens.
So he's trying to convert him at
Yeah,
some
at this
some
point,
extent.
at this
Okay.
point, he's trying to convert him
Okay.
to his cause and be like, I need a partner. I need somebody who can be my equal in this thing. And like this person she's already abandoned you. You just don't see it yet. You just think that she sent you to kill me, yes, but she really sent you to die because you're kind of burnt out, right? Like you could be so much more, but you choose to still serve your country when your country actually doesn't care about you.
Okay. Alright, so that has a little bit different feel to me than just purely like it's a little more nuanced, right? And a little more complicated
Yeah.
than just him being a villain who's trying to torture this guy.
Yeah.
Part of the torture
At this point.
has to is him trying at this point
Mhm.
trying to convince Bond that he's really not part of the club anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
He's trying to convince him that he's actually been disenfranchised,
right.
right? Like they lied to you. They always all she does is lie, right? He's trying to turn him against M, who he like has like extreme loyalty towards, right? And then the villain used to also have this extreme loyalty toward this person until he was abandoned, and he's trying to convince the other person that he's also being abandoned, right? Like you should join me because we can do our own thing. We don't have to worry about them. We're untouchable, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who can stop us is us, right? And like that's what he's trying to convey. Like we're the last two rats. There are no other agents that are on par with us to be able to stop us.
Yeah, but that whole rat story sets it up for, in my mind, to be it's me versus you.
Mhm.
There's only two rats left,
Yeah.
and one of us is going to eat the other.
Yeah, he talks about that. It's like we
Yeah.
can eat each other or we can eat everybody else.
Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting, because I really focused on that he was the eat each other.
Yeah.
But that is definitely that's in there.
Yeah, that's him still trying to convince. And in the scene, they both get up and walk out because he shows them. And like the next scene over, he's like, technology helped me do this. I've leveraged technology to make people think there was a huge gas leak and this island had to be abandoned. And look, free island, right? So it's one of those things. He's trying to convince Bond like this is the better way. Chasing people in the field, it's not something that we want to do anymore, right? There's no longevity in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you add into the creepy that you know how when like there's a little bit of like a cynical pride
Yeah, I can
to
do that.
his like don't you see this is the way to go, like you're so naive and stupid.
Mhm.
No,
Oh, I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would add some of that in it because see you're giving
There's,
me
like,
a
the
lot more
cynicism.
background.
Yeah, there's a
about,
cynicism in it.
yeah, there
Well,
really
like
is.
I kind of feel like this way as a veteran, where like I go to the VA for services, and they're like, "Oh, well, you actually don't qualify for those things," right? So like I have that internal like, "Oh, that's so bad," right? Like when you have to fight for everything, and then they tell you don't earn it, right? Like this happened when I was with my GI Bill. So I was using my GI Bill, and then they did like an audit, and they're like, "Oh, well, you owe this much money to us," and I was like, "Well, how? Like, since when? Like, how did that happen, right? Like, because I've been using my GI Bill as it's supposed to, and then you do an audit, and then I owe you like, this amount of money, but you've been paying me on schedule like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so there's a source of anger and pissiness.
yes. Like
that can go into
into this role.
Silva's, trying
so
to convince him.
your government turning its back on you when all you've done is serve the way you're supposed to.
Right. So that's where you put it in,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing that's kind of fun about it. You kind of work these scenes out. It's like, where do you put
it's
the
easy
difference?
to personify it because I can see M, right, who is their boss, and she's like extremely manipulative, and she just seems like, you know, it's Tuesday for her, right? She's sending men to their deaths, right? And now she's pitting them against each other because she has one rogue agent.
Do you think she knows she's pitting them against each other?
Yeah, she absolutely does.
Okay.
She absolutely does.
Well, because she sent Bond there to try to kill him.
Correct. Right, so that's her assignment.
But she's written off the other guy, hasn't she?
Yeah, years ago, right?
Okay.
Like, but also like, you know, she gives him that speech like towards the thing. She's like, "Your name is struck. Like for the record, you were buried honorably, but now like we know who you are, what you're doing. Your name's gonna be struck from the record. You're never gonna exist." And he gets really pissy. Like the scene between him and her, it is really weird. Because like he sees her like as a mother figure, and at the end, he's like, you know, he's holding a gun to her head, but he puts his head against it too. He goes, just pull the trigger. It's ended for both of us, right? It's a very like, I would say like he has a weird Oedipus complex with her.
Okay.
And I mean Bond does too a little bit, but not to the same level. But like he has obsessed about being abandoned for so long that he's at this point where like this has to happen this way, right? It was always gonna happen this way.
This is Silva.
This is Silva, yes.
Okay.
And he's like, you know, he's basically untouched this whole movie. Like he has a very like melodramatic death. It's ridiculous. I think like Bond like hits him in the back with a knife or something like that. And he just turns around and he's like, ah, and he just falls and dies.
I think I remember that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but she has a bullet wound that she's been hiding, and she bleeds out and dies at the end of the movie. And they replace her with like Ralph Fiennes. They replace Judi Dench's character with Ralph Fiennes, and he becomes M.
Okay.
For the next series of movies. So.
Okay.
Who plays Voldemort?
Who plays Voldemort?
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes plays Voldemort, I believe.
Does he?
I think so. I only watched the first Harry Potter movie, so I don't know. I'm not like a super
I don't
big fan.
know. Voldemort is an older. Wait, Voldemort's he the one with the no?
He's like the guy with the not nose. Who plays Voldemort? Yep, Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, okay. Let me see. So much makeup.
Yeah, it's a lot of makeup.
Oh, what the heck?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So let's put some of that anger in some of that spot,
Okay.
so that we can see a little bit of that relationship.
Okay, you want to start from the top?
Yeah. Why don't you?
Hello, James. Welcome. Do you like the island? My grandmother had an island. Nothing to boast of. You could walk around it in an hour. Still, it was a paradise for us. And one summer, we went for a visit and discovered the place had been infested with rats. They come on a fishing boat and gorge themselves on coconut. So, how do you get rats off an island? My grandmother showed me. We buried an oil drum and hinged the lid, and then we wired coconut to the lid as bait, and the rats would come for the coconut. Boing, 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 they would fall into the drum. After a month, you've trapped all the rats. Well, what do you do then? Throw the drum into the ocean? Burn it?
Which all seem like reasonable things, right?
Yeah. How do you get rid of it? Like, yeah. It's like you drop them and now you just dump it in the ocean or burn them. No, you just leave it. And they begin to get hungry. And one by one, they start eating each other. until there are only two left. The two survivors. And then what? Do you kill them? No. You take them and release them into the trees. And now they don't eat coconut anymore. They only eat rat. You have changed their nature. The two survivors, this is what she made us.
And maybe that's where Jester, it's what she made us. I made my own choices.
You think you did? That is her genius.
Made admitting, okay. Station H, am I right? Hong Kong.
86 to 97. Back then, I was her favorite. And you're not nearly the agent I was. I can tell you that. Just look at you, barely held together by your pills and your drink.
Don't forget my pathetic love of country.
You're still clinging to your faith in that old woman, when all she does is lie to you.
She's never lied to me.
No? What did you score on your marksmanship evaluation?
70.
40. Did she tell you the psychologist cleared you for duty?
Yes?
No. No. Medical evaluation, fail. Physical evaluation, fail. Psychological evaluation, alcohol and substance addiction indicated. Pathological rejection of authority based on unresolved childhood trauma. Subject is not approved for field duty and immediate suspension from service advised. What is this if not betrayal? She sent you after me, knowing you were not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy was very bad.
I would take a little bit more time between that.
Okay.
Especially because they even put little dots in there.
I was so excited.
I
know. What is this? What is this if not betrayal? She sent you after me, knowing you're not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy was very bad.
Yeah, and it's even better when you wait. I know you're ready because it's a great thing to say. But it's...
I think having like hearing the breath come in and then like exhaling it. Mommy was very bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. What she's done to you?
Well, she never tied me to a chair. Now, that's the interesting thing. When did the tie... I'm just stopping just because I'm curious about this. He's not tied to a chair now, is he? Because he's walking around the car. Isn't he by the car, or is he tied?
Yeah, he's like walking around the car. I mean, they could just like reference being tied to a chair at a different scene.
A different time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she's never tied me to a chair.
Her loss.
Are you sure this is about M?
It's about her. And you. And me. You see, we are the last two rats. We could either eat each other or eat everyone else. How you're trying to remember your training now? What's the regulation to cover this? Well, first time for everything, yes.
What makes you think this is my first time?
Oh, Mr. Bond. Chasing spies. So old-fashioned. Your knees must be killing you. England, the Empire, MI6. You're living in a ruin as well. You just don't know it yet. At least here, there are no old ladies giving orders and no little gadgets from those fools in Q Branch. If you wanted, you could pick your own secret missions as I do. Name it. Name it. Destabilize a multinational by manipulating stocks? Easy. Interrupt transmissions from a spy satellite over Kabul. Done. Rigging an election in Uganda? All to the highest bidder.
Or gas explosion in London.
Just sprint and quick.
Well, everybody needs a hobby.
So what's yours?
Resurrection.
The end.
Good. I just noticed the time. I gotta get going. But that was very cool. So, what are you gonna actually have this filmed?
Yeah, they're gonna have a film crew and stuff like that out there.
Okay.